This audio was developed using advanced NLP techniques, neuro-linguistic programming, to work directly on your subconscious, the deepest layer of the mind, where your habits, beliefs, and behavioral patterns truly reside. Unlike ordinary content, this audio does not speak only to your conscious mind. It goes further. Every word, every pause, every suggestion has been carefully crafted to pass through the filters of the rational mind and plant new beliefs where they truly need to be, at the core of your being. The first effects begin to be noticed after 21 days of regular listening, with subtle shifts in the way you think, feel, and react. For deeper reprogramming of ingrained habits and beliefs, the average observed time frame is 30 to 60 days of consistent practice. The more you listen, the deeper and more permanent the transformation will be. In any situation requiring full attention, you will awaken immediately with clarity and control. Do not listen to this audio while driving, operating machinery, performing tasks that require precision, working in hazardous environments, supervising children, or in any situation that demands constant alertness. Now, if you are in a safe and peaceful place, let us begin. Gently close your eyes. Breathe in deeply through your nose. Inhale slowly, counting to 4. Hold the breath for a moment, and release slowly through your mouth, counting to 6. Feel every muscle in your body begin to relax. Your shoulders drop, your jaw loosens, your hands open. You do not need to do anything right now except breathe and listen. Your only task in this moment is to receive. Take one more breath. Inhale deeply. Let your chest and abdomen expand fully. Hold and release everything, letting go of any tension that still remained. Each time you exhale, you go deeper. Each time you inhale, you open yourself more to what is coming. You are here because something within you already knows that you deserve beautiful relationships. You deserve to be seen, appreciated, and loved. You deserve to wake up every day surrounded by people who are good for you, who respect you, inspire you, and lift you higher. And more than that, you deserve to be the kind of person who radiates that same energy into the world. A presence that warms, an energy that attracts, a person who, upon entering a room, changes the quality of that space simply by being there. This is not a distant dream. This is who you are already becoming. And it begins here, now, in this moment of stillness and openness. Because every relationship that exists in your outer life is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. When you love yourself, you attract love. When you respect yourself, you attract respect. When you see yourself as someone valuable and attractive, the world around you begins to see you the same way. This is the law of correspondence in action. What is within manifests without, always and without exception. I am attractive, and my attractiveness begins from the inside out. I love myself, and that love overflows to everyone around me. I am pleasant, lighthearted, and people enjoy my presence. I am patient, compassionate, and I genuinely like other people. I accept myself completely, and that acceptance makes me freer and more beautiful every day. I am confident, and that confidence is natural, calm, and irresistible. I am surrounded by good people, and I am a good person to be around. Every day I become more attractive in every area of my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I am a magnet for genuine, healthy, and transformative connections. The law of correspondence, one of the oldest principles of Hermetic wisdom, teaches something that changes everything once you truly understand it. As within, so without. Your external world, the people you attract, the relationships you build, the way others perceive you, is always a reflection of your inner world. This means that attraction does not begin at the gym, it does not begin with the perfect outfit, and it does not begin with a clever line delivered at the right moment. It begins with the way you see yourself when you are alone. It begins with the conversation you have with yourself at 6 in the morning before anyone else sees you. It begins with the silent belief you carry about who you are and how much you are worth. And here is the most liberating news you will hear today. That belief can be changed, not tomorrow, not after you lose weight, make more money, or achieve something you do not yet have, right now. Because real transformation never starts with external circumstances. It always begins with the internal decision to see yourself differently. And that is exactly what a young man named Eros discovered. Eros grew up being the kind of person who disappeared in social settings, not because he was invisible, but because he believed he was. At school, he stayed in the corners. At parties, he was always the first to leave. Whenever someone tried to talk to him, his heart would race and his mind would collapse under the pressure of finding something interesting to say. He had convinced himself that he simply did not possess the gift that allowed some people to connect effortlessly with everyone, that there was a right way to be, and that he wasn't it. But Eros had a quality he didn't recognize in himself. He was genuinely curious about people. Whenever he managed to relax enough to listen, he truly listened. He wasn't thinking about what he would say next. He wasn't comparing himself. He simply listened, with such complete attention that people felt it and never forgot it. One day, almost by accident, Eros began listening to personal development audios. At first, he was skeptical, but he kept listening, and something started to change, not on the outside, but on the inside. He began to realize that the thoughts he had about himself were not facts, they were habits, and habits can be replaced. He started looking at himself in the mirror without looking away. He began walking with his head held a little higher. He started taking a deep breath before entering a room, instead of already walking in defeated. He did not become another person. He became a truer version of himself, and people noticed it before he did. Over time, Eros became the person others sought out, not because he learned seduction techniques or memorized lines, but because he learned how to be present, to accept himself, to truly listen, to smile without apologizing for existing. And he discovered that the magnetic presence he had always admired in others was never some mysterious gift. It was simply the result of someone who had decided at some point to stop diminishing themselves. Over time, Eros became the person others sought out, not because he learned seduction techniques or memorized lines, but because he learned how to be present, to accept himself, to truly listen, to smile without apologizing for existing. And he discovered that the magnetic presence he had always admired in others was never some mysterious gift. It was simply the result of someone who had decided at some point to stop diminishing themselves. I am attractive exactly as I am. My authenticity is my greatest magnetism. I look at myself in the mirror and like what I see. I accept myself as fully as I can, and that acceptance makes me more beautiful every day. People enjoy my presence, and I enjoy the presence of others. I am naturally and calmly confident. I am becoming a happier, lighter, and more attractive person every day. With each passing day, I become more handsome, more balanced, and more magnetic in every area of my life. I do not compare myself to anyone else. I am unique, and that is my power.
There is a question that very few people ask themselves before seeking a relationship. It is not, where will I find the right person? It is not, how can I become more attractive to others? The real question, the one that changes everything when answered honestly, is this: what is the quality of the relationship I have with myself? Because before any connection with another person, there is one connection that determines all the others: the connection with yourself. The way you treat yourself when you make mistakes, the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around, the level of care you devote to your own body, your own mind, and your own soul. None of this is a minor detail. It is the foundation, and no external relationship can ever be stronger than the foundation upon which it is built. The law of vibration teaches that everything in the universe is in constant motion, and that everything vibrates at a specific frequency. Thoughts vibrate, emotions vibrate, beliefs vibrate, and the law that governs this vibration is relentless in its precision. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. This means that seeking a balanced partner while living in imbalance yourself is like trying to tune in to a radio station on a completely different frequency. The signal simply does not come through. Not because the universe is unfair, but because it is mathematically precise. It always responds to what you radiate, not to what you request.
And what you radiate is determined first and foremost by how you see yourself, by how you treat yourself, by how much you believe you deserve. A person who neglects themselves, constantly criticizes themselves, and accepts less than they deserve because deep down they do not feel worthy of more, will continue attracting exactly what confirms the belief they already hold about themselves. Not because of bad luck, but because of misalignment. The real work is not finding the right person, it is becoming the right person. And that begins with a simple yet revolutionary decision: choosing to treat yourself well. Treating yourself well is not vanity, it is not selfishness. It is the most generous act you can practice, because a person who truly loves themselves has love to give. A person who respects themselves knows how to recognize and demand respect. A person who takes care of themselves has the energy, presence, and lightness to bring into their relationships. Self-care is not the opposite of generosity, it is its prerequisite. You cannot give what you do not have, and you cannot attract what you do not embody. This shows up in the simplest everyday actions. It is nourishing yourself well, not out of obligation, but because your body deserves quality fuel. It is getting enough sleep because your mind deserves rest. It is looking in the mirror and finding something to appreciate instead of something to criticize. It is speaking to yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. It is saying no when something is not good for you, not with anger, but with the calm confidence of someone who knows their worth. Each of these actions, repeated day after day, gradually reprograms the frequency you radiate. And as that frequency changes, what you attract changes as well. There is also something that the ancient wisdom of countless traditions unanimously confirms. You cannot truly love another person beyond the level at which you love yourself. You may feel something intense. You may become attached. You may even sacrifice yourself. But mature, balanced love, the kind that builds rather than destroys, is only possible when it is rooted within you. When you love yourself, you stop seeking from others the validation that only you can give yourself. You stop clinging out of fear of being alone. You stop tolerating the intolerable because you believe you do not deserve better. Self-love does not close your heart to others. It opens it, but with discernment, dignity, and the quiet certainty of someone who knows they do not need anyone else in order to be whole. Affirmations. I love myself, and that love grows stronger every day. I treat myself with kindness, respect, and genuine care. I nourish my body and care for my mind because I deserve the very best. I look in the mirror and see a beautiful, valuable person who is worthy of love. I vibrate at the frequency of love, balance, and well-being, and that is what I attract. I am a balanced person, and I attract balanced people into my life. I fully accept myself, with my strengths and with my areas for growth. I do not need anyone's approval to feel worthy. I am enough right now, exactly as I am. I love myself more each day, and that love naturally overflows into all of my relationships. Think of the people who have left the biggest mark on your life. Not necessarily those who were around the longest, but those who left something inside you that is still there. A phrase that changed your perspective. A gesture you've never forgotten. A presence that made you feel truly seen for the first time. These people have something in common. They weren't trying to impress. They weren't competing. They didn't diminish themselves to appear greater. They were simply present, truly, completely, without a hidden agenda. And this genuine presence is exactly what defines a relationship that uplifts. It is not perfection. It is not the absence of conflict. It is the quality of the connection that happens when two people consciously choose to be good to each other. Relationships exist in every dimension of life. The romantic love we choose and cultivate, the family we don't choose, but that shapes who we are, the friendships we build along the way that form our support network in moments of greatest need, and the professional bonds that largely determine the environment where we spend most of our days. Each of these dimensions has its own rules, rhythms, and challenges, but they all share a common foundation without which none of them can endure for long. Genuine respect for the other as a complete being, with their own story, their own needs, and their own way of seeing the world. Communication is the oxygen of relationships. Without it, everything slowly suffocates. But communication is not just about speaking. It is about speaking in a way that the other can hear. It means choosing your words carefully, not to win an argument, but to build a bridge. It means expressing what you feel without turning the feeling into an accusation. It means saying, "I felt this way when this happened," instead of, "You always do that." This small difference in how you speak creates a huge difference in how the other person receives what you say. And even more important than speaking well is listening well. Truly listening, without already formulating your response while the other is halfway through the sentence. Listening with the intention of understanding, not replying. This type of listening is so rare that when people encounter someone who practices it, they never forget.
Respecting differences is another pillar that supports any lasting relationship. Two people who think exactly alike in everything do not complement each other, they echo each other. And an echo, pleasant as it may be at first, becomes impoverished over time. Differences are not the problem in relationships. They are the ingredient that makes them rich, complex, and transformative. The challenge is learning to see another person's different way of being not as a threat or provocation, but as a window into a perspective you haven't considered before. This requires humility. It requires the willingness to be wrong sometimes. It requires recognizing that your way of seeing things is only one of many possible ways, and that this multiplicity is what makes life interesting. Reciprocity completes the triangle. A relationship where only one party cares, gives in, invests, and shows concern is not a relationship. It is a one-sided contract disguised as a bond. Effort, affection, and care need to flow in both directions for the connection to remain alive and nourishing. This does not mean keeping score or demanding exact equivalence in every exchange. It means having the sense over time that the other is also present, also investing, also choosing you. And when this reciprocity exists, something extraordinary happens. The relationship stops being a place where you go to get what you need and becomes a place where both grow together, where the sum is greater than the individual parts.
Affirmations. I communicate with clarity, respect, and genuine openness. I truly listen to people with full attention and without judgment. I respect others' differences and see them as opportunities to learn. I build relationships based on reciprocity, mutual care, and true respect. I am trustworthy, and people trust me. I do not speak ill of anyone, and I do not judge anyone. I get along well with everyone, and surround myself with good people who uplift me. I am a positive presence in every environment I enter. I cultivate genuine connections in my romantic, family, friendship, and professional life. I am always willing to help, and this care returns to me multiplied.
There is a confusion at the root of much of the suffering in relationships. A confusion so ancient and so widespread that most people never stop to question it. The confusion between loving and possessing, between wanting what is best for another person and wanting that person for yourself, between a love that liberates and a love that imprisons. This confusion begins innocently enough in jealousy that seems like affection, in demands that seem like care, in a need to control that seems like protection. But over time, what began as love gradually turns into a chain. And chains, no matter how golden they may be, are still chains. True love does not need to hold on in order to feel secure. It does not need to control in order to feel loved. It does not require the other person to change, shrink, or give up who they are for the relationship to work. True love is generous enough to want the other person to flourish, even if that flourishing sometimes happens in directions you would not choose. This is the highest form of love, and it is also the most difficult because it requires you to trust, to let go, to recognize that the other person is a complete and free human being, not an extension of you, not your property, not a character in the script of your life. Buddhist masters described attachment in relationships with an image that remains vivid to this day. They said that loving with attachment is like licking honey from the blade of a knife. At first, the taste is intoxicating, sweet, intense, irresistible. But the more you lick, the more the blade cuts, and the suffering that follows is not the honey's fault, it is the consequence of the way you sought it. Attachment is not love, it is fear disguised as love. It is the fear of loss, of being alone, of not being enough, and that fear clings to another person as if holding on tightly could guarantee they would stay. But no one stays out of obligation. People stay by choice, and free choices can only exist where there is freedom. Instead of attachment, Buddhist masters taught 4 virtues that form the foundation of genuine love. The first is loving kindness, the sincere wish for another person to be happy without conditions, without demands, and without expecting anything in return. The second is compassion, the ability to feel another person's suffering as if it were your own, without becoming lost in it, while maintaining the serenity necessary to truly help. The third is sympathetic joy, the ability to genuinely rejoice in another person's happiness and achievements, without envy, without comparison, and without the silent poison of resentment. And the fourth, perhaps the most difficult of all, is equanimity, the inner balance that allows you to love fully without being destroyed by the natural fluctuations of any human relationship, to love without losing yourself, to be present without dissolving, to care without erasing your own identity. These 4 virtues do not describe a cold or distant love. They describe a mature love, a love that has grown beyond need and arrived at choice. Because the fundamental difference between attachment and true love is precisely this: attachment needs, love chooses. Attachment clings, love sets free. Attachment consumes, love nourishes. And when 2 people who love in this way meet, something extraordinary happens. They do not complete one another as if they were halves. They add to one another as whole beings. 2 complete individuals who choose every day to build something together, not out of fear of being alone, but because life is better together. Emotional responsibility is what connects all of this to the everyday reality of relationships. It means taking ownership of your own emotions without placing them on someone else's shoulders. It means recognizing that your anxiety is yours, your jealousy is yours, your insecurity is yours, and that another person is not obligated to reshape themselves in order to ease what you need to resolve within yourself. This does not mean the other person does not matter. It means you are mature enough to take care of what belongs to you, without turning every emotion into a demand and every need into a trap for the person you claim to love.
I love without attachment and without the need to control. I set free those I love because I know that true love does not imprison. I relate to others with loving kindness, compassion, and genuine joy for their happiness. I maintain emotional balance in my relationships, and that balance makes them healthier and more enduring. I take responsibility for my own emotions with maturity and emotional accountability. I feel no envy toward anyone and genuinely rejoice in the well-being of others. I love with freedom, and I am loved with freedom. I choose the people in my life, and they choose me every day. I have peace of mind in my relationships because I am at peace with myself. The love I offer is genuine, mature, and transformative.
You've made it this far, and that already says everything about who you are. You opened your mind, allowed new words to replace old beliefs, and let a truer, more magnetic version of yourself begin to emerge. This simple act is already the beginning of a transformation from which there is no turning back. Remember Eros. He didn't change because he found the right people. He found the right people because he changed, because he decided to stop believing the voice that diminished him. You are doing the same thing now. I am attractive, and my attraction comes from within. I love myself, and this love overflows to everyone around me. I am pleasant, and people genuinely enjoy my presence. I am confident, patient, and compassionate. I love without attachment and am loved with freedom. I have peace of mind, and this peace attracts peace. I am unique. I am enough. I am a magnetic presence in the world. Listen to this audio every day. Each repetition deepens the roots. In 21 days, you will already notice something different in the way people look at you, the way conversations flow, and the way you occupy your space with naturalness and confidence.